Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for A Place Further Than the Universe, Episode 4.
Oh, yeah.
I love this show so much.
They going to Antarctica.
Yeah. It was, I could just die, and
Yeah.
then I could just die. Oh, this is just, it's so wonderful. And now we have the 4 girls all together going to Tokyo.
Right.
Eventually going to Antarctica.
Hopefully, assuming this whole ploy works.
Right. It's a tricky bit with, like what kind of time it's going to take between now and when they're actually on their way to Antarctica on a boat.
Yeah.
You know.
On
so
the boat. Yeah.
we will see about that probably in this episode. They'll probably get that planned out.
Sure.
It might take a while for them to actually leave, but
yeah, there might be some extra complications or whatever, but
yeah.
Hopefully everything goes well.
Yeah, hopefully everything goes well. I'm really glad that Shirase is integrated into the group, and we get to see what the 4 of them together means, really in a full episode way. Going forward.
Because now we have all of them together.
Yes.
No, introductions are over.
Yes. So without further ado, let's get into this.
夢じゃない、嘘じゃない、間違いでもない。
Oh, they're training stuff so that they're prepared to go to
学
Antarctica.
校で、家で、
Oh.
バイト先で、
It's
何度も
happening.
何度も
Yep.
口にする。
Yep. Oh.
南極に行くんだ。本当に南極って言
Wow.
っ
Yeah,
た。いい
good,
の？
good.
いい。ど
We'll
うせ
just
行く
have
まで
fun
何言
without
っても
them.
信じないから。
Right.
本当についてから言うの。
Oh.
ざまあ
There
み
you
ろ
go.
ざ
In your
まあ
face,
み
in
ろ
your face.
ざまあ
Yeah,
みろ
basically saying, I proved you wrong.
Right.
性
Yeah.
格悪いね。
Ah!
悪いよ。悪い？
Oh, no, not at all.
こ
Oh
の
my
夏季
gosh.
訓練とかいうので2日その後12月から休むってことですか。
はい。
親御さんはなんて玉木さんを
She's prepared.
Yep.
I don't have that yet.
Onward to get permission.
Yep.
どう思う？リン。なんか怪しい。普通すぎる。こっちに気づかれないように演技している的な。マリちゃん。入浴剤買ってきたからお風呂場に置いといてくれる？そんなの最近あるんだね。こいつすでに知ってる。
It's like a thriller all of a sudden.
Yeah.
掘ったらしかし気づいてた。
I love
With the
miscommunication.
だ
knife.
ったらこれ以上隠しておくの
Oh my
は
gosh.
状況を不利にする
She's
だ
gonna
け。
be
Just come out and say it.
She's gonna be totally all for
マ
it.
リちゃん。
Yeah.
どうしたの？それとも何かあるの？南極に。実は冬に旅行に行くことになりまして。もう決定事項なんだ。母さん何も聞いてなかったな。今日近所の人に言われるまで。
Oh, okay.
いや、言うつもりだった。待って待って待って。
待て待て
武器は武器は。武器じゃなくてこれは料理道
It's a
具でし
cooking
ょ。
utensil.
最もバカな娘を調理するのにも使えそうだけど。
Oh my gosh.
そのアリババっぽい。
Ah! Oh no! Give me my daughter.
船が出るかまだ怪しいって書いてあったぞ。まあそれは今考えてもしょうがないし。うわ、バイト行かなきゃ。大変だな。
Rough life, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
無理しすぎないようにな。
Around the clock.
それ以上頑張ってダメだったらすごい後悔するだろうから。
It's this mindset.
ここ？間違いない。
Oh. Dang.
お待たせ。わかりにくくてごめんね。でさ、乗って。お、今片付け
That's
る
a
ね。
lot of
ごめん
papers.
ごめん。
Yeah.
イメージと違った。
Ah!
And your next
まあ
line
そうよ
is.
ね。南極観測隊って言ったら大プロジェクトだものね。いくら民間とはいえ、こんなボロっちいワンボックスなんてね。
Yeah, you'd get almost a little bit of a. It's a little bit creepy. How are we supposed to respond to that?
しかし、まさかあなたが本当に同行者になってここまで来るとはね。100万円はどうしたの？まだあります。 ですね。
気持ちいい。とはいえ外に出るのはあさってから。では早速隊長挨拶から。
Who this? Who this? Oh.
南極観測隊隊長東堂銀です。
Shirase knows.
女性
Yeah,
なんです
probably
か。
old
最
friend
初
of
に言って
others,
おきます
maybe?
Yeah,
が、
probably.
私は隊員は同行者であろうが研究者であろうが等しく同等だと思っています。やることは山ほどある。高校生であろうと必要であれば掃除洗濯から力仕事まで。
居眠りしてたらチョーク飛んできそうな。
テストとかあったら超難しい問題作りそうだよね。
Yeah.
それより明日はルート工作だろ。 うん、外出るんでしょ。山来たんだもん。ちょっとくらい出ないと
Something
ね。
awkward, probably about the past with her
結構
mom
大変だぞ
and this woman.
これ。
わざとこうしたの？
私は何もしてない。本当にあの子が頑張ってここまで来たの。でも正直予感はあったかな。初めてあの子が一緒に行きたいって言った時から。貴子の娘だもん。
道なんか作らなくても行けるんじゃないの？
逆。
Yeah.
真っ平らの真っ白だから吹雪になると方向がわからなくなる。
Makes perfect
そ
sense.
れで目印にこの旗立てるわけだ。
Gotcha.
でもどこに？それを自分たちでやるのがこの訓練だろ。ここが今私たちのいるところだ。そしてここにあるのが目的地。そこまで行けばいいの？ただ行くんじゃなく、途中にあるこことこことここ、こういうポイントに旗を立てて。
Yeah.
All right.
なるほどですね。それで正確な位置を測って進むの。
Nice.
なん
Cool.
か難しそうな予感。
Well, it wouldn't be rewarding if it wasn't,
48、
right?
49、50。ここだよ。角度見て。
168度。
もっと右。右。
そこ。そこか。だいぶずれちゃってるわね。思い出すわね。自分が初めて参加した時のこと。
残りの3人は何なの？
そう。お一人はもともと参加させようとしてた子でしょ。いつ
Right.
の間にか仲良くなってるみたいだけど。
Nope.
他の隊員の人たちは時間競ってるって言ってましたけど。でも大切なのは時間よりも正確さだと思う。1、2、398、399、
Whoa.
400。
ここ。左に2本。おお、素早い。しかしよくわかったな。キマリがコンパスが得意だって。
なんかぽいっていうか。
コンパスのエキスパートと呼んで、名付けてコンパス。
A compasser for short.
Are you awake?
ねえ、なんか話そうよ。こっち向くの。
Don't
怖
agree.
い話とかしちゃう？
軽く死なせますよ。
He's killing
もし
you
かして
right
ゆず
now.
きちゃん嫌いなの？怖い話。
Oh, cool.
不
They're
愉
calling
快
you
にしてく
music.
ださい。
フルカにしてくださいって何？
Shut talking now.
だから言い出したんです。もう言いたいことはわかるからいいじゃないですか。
フルカにしてください。
Please
い
shut
い
up.
からやめろ、キマリ。しらせちゃんは寝ちゃった？聞こうと思ってたんだけど。
Without even
し
waiting
ら
for
せ
an
ちゃんって
answer.
さ、隊長さんと知り合いなの？
お母さんと一緒に南極に行った人。あの人は帰ってきて、お母さんだけが帰ってこなかっ
No,
た。
just simple as that, yeah.
それだけ。
Oof, oof.
北星どれ？空にある星が全てと思うなかれ。ひなたちゃんの言葉でしょ。ちょっと出来悪かったな。
I thought it was okay.
来たー。こちらオーロラ隊三宅です。感度良好です。どうぞ。 本日オーロラ隊4名人員装備異常なしですどうぞ
Oh, that's just killer.
Wow.
「何が見えますか？
Watching the sunrise.
しらせちゃんのお母さんってどんな人だったんですか？
Let's just go straight
ど
to
ん
it.
なと聞かれると変な人って答えしか出てこないわね。ただ
You're about to.
あのしつこさと思い込みの強さはそっくりね。めんどくさい。
いいですよね。めんどくさい
Isn't
の。
trouble just the
南
best?
極向きの性格ね。あなたは
本当ですか？
どうして南極に？あの子に誘われた？
はい。でも決めたのは私です。どこかじゃない。
Yeah.
南極だって。
Awesome.
Oh, here it is. And the clouds
み
go.
んなと南極に行って。
Show it.
みんな起きて。
Oh, yeah, we have to get everyone else in. What is it?
苦手なんだ。
Oh, that's like a band pose right there. But like, it's our girls. And they're... Oh, there it is.
私、みんなと行きたい。
Oh,
みんな
Yeah.
と一緒に南極絶対行こう。
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. 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 Got it. Yeah.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh. All right. All right.
Oh, not as dramatically emotional as the
No,
previous
no,
episode.
no,
but
but-
this episode brought up something very, very important. Very important. And it's the whole thing of when someone else watches you go after your dreams. One of the things that you can accidentally do, because I've done this. And I've been on the receiving end on this. I've been both parties in this. Is where
Right.
someone will go after their dreams, and as a friend, you'll try to be like, I want to help them. So as helping them, what
Right.
you'll do is say, make sure you don't think. Make sure you cover for all the ways it can go wrong.
Exactly,
And
right.
one of the tendencies is not to say how many things could go right and just celebrate them going after their dreams.
Right.
Is it's you're trying to like cover for their weaknesses and stuff.
Because
which is,
because you don't because when it comes right down to it with any kind of dream or something like that and going after it, like so
Right.
many other things in life, it comes down to choice.
Yep.
And that's not something that other people will necessarily be able to see or perceive as
Yep.
well as you can.
Yep.
You can know in your mind, like, I know the difference between when it's something that I was just, wanting but not really willing to go after, and like, no,
Right.
I am going to do this.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of times you can just tell. But the people close to you, they don't have that up close perspective,
Right.
So they'll be like, okay, yes, but I just want to make sure you don't get your hopes up too much or whatever, and try and encourage you along the way. But it also ends up being something where
it's a very classic example of projection a lot of the times.
Right.
Not all the time, but one of the really common things that'll happen is you'll get kind of this, it's not really jealousy, but it's more of like this missing out kind of feeling of just being
Right.
like, look at all these people just going after what they're passionate about and
Exactly,
stuff.
right.
And
Yeah.
and a great example of this, I would say, would be like, let's say you look at like you're single and you watch a bunch of other people like getting in relationships and stuff,
Right,
and
getting
it's
married
just
and
like
having kids and
or,
stuff.
or whatever. Just
Yeah.
you watch a bunch of other people like doing other, and there's this idea that that's not happening to me. Now that's not necessarily a healthy mindset or anything.
but that's also not necessarily a bad thing.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. One of the things that's really helpful, actually, is to surround yourself with people who, like this, are going after their dreams
Exactly,
and having
yeah.
that passion,
Right.
because you watching it and observing it kind of can inspire you to do the same thing in a different area.
And even if it doesn't inspire you to do it, it at least shines the light on it, so that way you're uncomfortable about it, because you're like, no, I should be going and doing that, or doing something like what they're doing, and I'm not, and I'm not okay with that.
Right, because that uncomfortable feeling can get you restless enough that you end up making a choice that maybe you weren't willing to do before, because maybe you're a little lazy, or maybe you're just a little bit just tired you're just not feeling like, making a drastic change like that. But the coolest thing that happens is when you do these kinds of things, these things that are passionate and then going after your dreams
outside
and
your
stuff,
comfort zone and all that.
Yeah, what happens is there are people that will kind of help the road in front of you also be just laid out a little bit clearer, because they respond positively to the passion.
Right, exactly.
It's kind of like how Shirase wasn't really supposed to be going on this trip according to the team captain, but the other girl who showed up in the van was like, well, she made her effort. She made the effort. It's her choices that led her here. It was not me. I was like, I didn't do it.
The idea that people will come from all over just to watch you burn, even if they're not passionate about the same thing that you're passionate about. Just the fact that you are passionate about something, that can resonate with people, because who doesn't want to be passionate just in general, right?
And it's making the choices that are so big that you don't really have a full plan on how you're going to actually do it. Because one of the things that I think a lot of people that maybe went after their dreams and they didn't work out as well will kind of accidentally put onto other people is their own regret through a kind of a pragmatic kind of personality and such. And almost everyone I've talked to, like twice my age and above, has talked to me about how much they wish they had not fallen into that kind of realistic letting setting for your dreams,
letting the dreams in that almost childlike ability to believe die out.
And it's something that if you look at the intrinsic value in the present moment, it's going to be actually really hard to see it. Like, you're not going to be able to look at it and go, this decision, I know for a fact that it is like a life-changing thing. You're going to look at it and go, well, I'm excited about it, but I get excited about a lot of things.
Right, because a lot of times it's not logical.
Right.
You can't explain it to somebody and say, this makes concrete sense of, why I should definitely objectively do this thing.
Right. So when you have people together with you in that dream that are cheering you on and stuff, it makes it easier to go and kind of do the grind, the things that that are not fun, that are not enjoyable, that are just things you have to do in order to see that dream happen. Like we have with Kimari having to ace all of her, or pass at least all of her tests, while doing all the training stuff, while doing, taking time off school to do this other stuff.
And the job to get the money. Like ridiculous amounts of stuff. And one of the things that is very important that they show here is that she has her friends. She has the other people that are there and they're doing it with her so that she's not alone. So that, because, as pretty and amazing as this show is, that's not what life is like all the time.
Right. It can get like that.
It can get like that. But then there are also the less than days where it's not all sunshine and amazing madhouse animation.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes down to individual characters probably in this show will have downer days.
I hope so. That would be so good to watch.
Well, that was kind of what happened previously. It was basically all of Shiraishi's, or now Yuzuki, we call her by first name, her character has this this backstory, essentially, that is just a sequence of really bad days. And it was other people's passion that pulled her out of that and towards something that she can be excited about and she can be herself in and just express. I love that. We got a little bit of showing that Kimari is kind of the main character in this episode. If you think about it structurally,
yes. Right.
A lot of times Shirase was painted as the main character in terms of the dream,
right,
in the beginning, and it was Kimari that basically latched tight onto that, and that's good.
Yeah.
And it felt like it was kind of a dual main character thing for a second,
right?
Because they then went and paired up and brought the other girls on by their own kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
But now that it's the four of them there, we're reminded that Kimari is actually the one that holds tight to the inspiration in almost a stupid, childlike, kind of innocent, just, I have to, like, this is Antarctica.
Which is really funny, because if you think about it, as far as what all of them basically bring to the table, right? You've got Shirase, who brought the original vision, right?
Right.
Antarctica specifically, right? You have Hinata, who is bringing along probably more of like the energy, and basically like just
drive,
keeping everyone fired up of like, yes, we're going to do this, even though it's going to be, there's all these things that we'll have to do. And then there's Yuzuki, who actually supplies the ability to get to Antarctica.
Yes.
But then if you think about Kimari, what does she bring to the table exactly? It's like, okay, she encouraged Shirase.
She is the encourager.
Right.
I think that's actually like one of the biggest things that you can have as a group dynamic of dreamers. One of the things that I'd say is very unfortunate about most people that you would see the adults, essentially, the pragmatic crowd label as the dreamers, are a bunch of basically hot, blazing, basically newspapers. They just, they flash with fire, and then they go out really quickly.
No staying power,
Yes. Kimari keeps their flames going strong when they go low. She reignites them. So
and she doesn't do it in the way that Hinata does.
She doesn't do it in the inject you with 20 million volts and just because
Hinata's whole thing is hilarious to see, and it's awesome, and it's amazing, and I love it. And there are people that are like that.
Very few, but yes.
Very few. But
few.
they do exist. But even then, you can't burn at that level forever.
Yes. None of the other characters should burn at the same level Hinata does for just, things in general.
Right.
Hinata's got almost this, like, just dogged drive that's really hard to match. And I like that all the characters are, kind of interacting and gleaning from each other, but none of them are kind of molding by osmosis being next to these girls. Shirase is still herself. She keeps a lot of things internally, kind of going on there. Hinata is very expressive. Yuzuki is still a little bit sensitive and shy, but is willing to kind of take risks with these girls now because they're friends and they trust each other. And Kimari is just like just trying to roll with this.
Right. Like she seems like she's the person who is probably the most realistic out of all of them. Or at least from the standpoint of, bell curve of people. Right.
Yes, she's the most normal.
She's the most normal out of all of them.
She's the audience in a lot of ways.
And why that I would say is so important is because it's showing how, because it's not just that there's all these exceptional personalities and characters that they've set up here that go and do this awesome thing and, suck the marrow out of life.
Right.
But it's the fact that a normal person does it too.
Yes.
And in a lot of ways, the normal person is the one that keeps them all glued together and makes sure it happens more than anyone else.
Yes. I have seen lots of shows, lots of stories really have this dynamic of the group. And one of the things that I rarely see done so well in the underdog standpoint is basically have them have this kind of weight of the world and all this stuff just pressing on them from their environment, but they in a lot of ways actually lean on their friends throughout consistently. And one of the things that in the other stories that they do, if anything, is they every once in a while they pull themselves up by their own bootstraps and they're like, I can do this, and then they have to be reminded no, rely on your friends and stuff. And an episode like this, if anything, her friends are doing fine. They have their own little things, but there was nothing like dramatic, like conflict-wise in this episode other than the Shirase captain thing. but she intentionally does the things like bringing them out to see a sunset at an early hour, because while Yuzuki might be the one that didn't have friends prior to this, what I don't think Kimari had prior to this was passionate friends. She had friends,
right?
But while we're going to talk about that little end credit,
yeah.
While having friends is good, if you don't have friends that stir up the deeper things in you,
that call you up to something like,
greater than yourself,
it's
something that you don't really notice you're missing out on until you have it.
Exactly.
And it's really cool that they're showing how that effect is changing, not really changing, but changing the way Kimari looks at things.
Right.
And changing the way her friend is now looking at things.
Exactly. And that's
so amazing.
That's so good. Because here's the thing. If not for this chance encounter with Shirase, right, and all this stuff happening.
With the million yen.
Right, with the million yen and all that. They would have gone on about their lives, and they still would have been great friends, and they probably would have ended up, living very fulfilling lives and all that stuff. Right. And even if Kimari couldn't, get that crazy, feeling that she gets about the idea of going to Antarctica and stuff, they still would have been just fine.
Probably, yeah.
But it did, and now that she's going after something like this, her friend is suddenly realizing, she's waking up from the idea of the status quo and that just being all that there is and all that there needs to be.
Right. It's so beautiful, because this is almost everyone's existence. You can find the place you fit into this in any one of these characters in a lot of ways.
Right.
I mean, we don't even have that many characters if you think about it. So,
not really.
So it's surprising that you can actually find your place in this, because a lot of us have gone after the dream, but I would say a lot of us are kind of, probably the ones watching this, are at the age where we're either in the middle of going and building a dream, we're going after that thing, and we're not there yet. We're not at Antarctica. We're not looking at the dream realized and going, oh my gosh, we did it. We did it. We're going like we believe. We have to daily put in the work.
Yeah.
We have to, we have to do our schoolwork. We have to do our homework. We have to work at the job. We have to do all these things and build the dream. And when you do that with people, it's just it's such a powerful thing. But then every once in a while you'll be like Shirase, and you'll get distracted by something that went on in the past, and you get into a funk all of a sudden. It's like, yeah.
Because that happens.
That happens.
And here's the thing.
It happens a lot.
Here's the thing. Imagine what that would have been like, just a simple day like this, if Shirase was by herself.
Yep.
How much, okay, the whole idea of going to Antarctica, I would posit to you, right? And apart from the whole thing of, Yuzuki making them actually able to go to Antarctica.
Yes.
Like
apart from that.
Even ignoring that,
right.
I would posit that Shirase would not actually end up going to Antarctica this year,
right,
if she hadn't met them.
Yeah.
Because she would have little days like that, and she wouldn't have her friends to pick her back up.
Yep.
So she might still end up making progress towards her dream and all that,
right,
but it'd be a lot slower.
Yeah. And the old line it just works so well here. If you want to go fast, go alone.
Yeah. If
you want to go far, go together.
Right.
Basically, you have the potential, and this is called place further than the universe. This is not about how, like, and they actually mentioned it. They've talked about precision versus speed. Now, this is extrapolating way too much out of nothing here, but
no, but yeah, I know.
But you get the vibe of them, like, taking the flags and making kind of milestones.
Yeah, the whole idea that one of them, and hey, Kimari's the one doing this.
Yeah, interesting. Keeping their course on.
Keeping their, doing the course corrections. She might not be doing, the crazy work, but she's basically just lining it up and being like, I think you need to be a bit more over there.
Right.
And granted, I think Kimari wasn't the only one doing that this episode.
That's probably true. Yeah.
But just the point still stands.
Yeah.
You need the friends that can help. Even if they're not going after the same thing as you, just to be able to look and be like, I think you're not quite lined up.
Not saying like, oh, you're off course. You should be really careful. You're gonna run afoul of all these things.
Yeah,
no, like, no. You're almost there. Just
a bit more this way.
Just a bit to the left. You got it. Awesome.
Right.
Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, And so man. Can we talk about the end credit scene now?
Yes.
Because that was okay. I love it in stories whenever they do things where
the side character
the
feels
side
the repercussions of the main story.
Yes, absolutely. But what I was going to say is when they communicate a lot without actually using words.
Yeah.
I love it because it gets the imagination going, and it's mainly it gets the imagination going, and you basically have to fill in whatever else is there, which makes it way easier to relate to what's going on because you're the one filling everything in. And in this case, that hits hard.
Like, we're gonna love this show, of course, when it's over. And stuff,
like we already do.
But one of the things we're gonna look back on probably is the growth that characters who didn't go on the trip go through. Right. I'm going to be looking at Kimari's mom. I'm going to be looking at the captain. Well, no, the captain's going.
Right.
I'm going to be looking at Kimari's friend. I'm going to be looking at basically any people that, looked at this whole thing and were like, yeah, that's cool. And kind of gave that half kind of encouragement.
Exactly, because there's the people where it's like, okay, they're saying, oh, you'll never be able to do it.
Yeah, forget those people.
Yeah, forget those people. Because usually you don't care about their opinions really, and if anything, that does just kind of like it might get you down sometimes, but it also gets you fired up and be like, no, I'm gonna tell those assholes. Like,
right. The people that matter don't mind. The people that
don't mind.
But
the thing that hurts worst of all is not the cold water that's dumped on the fire. It's the lukewarm water from the people close to you, where they're like, "Oh, cool, go for it."
Yeah,
it's like, like that. That's just one of those ones where it's like knife in the back.
Right.
Yeah. And
so with this, it's not even close to that really yet, because with her, she's feeling the
yeah.
Wow.
And that's what I am so glad that they're doing this, is because in this they could just have it be something where it's all happiness and sunshine and everything.
Right.
And it could end up being that. Who knows?
Yeah.
But there were 4 girls in the opening in Antarctica, not 5. Not 5. So because here's the thing, that might not be because she didn't want to go to Antarctica, because given that end credit scene, it looks like she kind of does. But she might not be willing to put in the effort, or it might just be something where by the time it comes around, she's missed her chance. It's too late, and now she might be able to go next year, maybe, if she got that set up.
There's a weird mentality, I think, that not a lot of people have. And if you're watching this and you go, like, I don't know, because I'm going to say something that might seem a little bit not harsh, but a little bit just kind of cold, a little bit. Life doesn't wait for you.
Right.
Like, there's this really weird kind of feeling that I've had a lot of my life, which is where, like, if I kind of wait for just the right, perfect moment to make the move, make the choice, to do the thing, it'll come. That's not true.
Right.
And life doesn't care if you
it doesn't.
are waiting for the perfect moment. It just won't give it to you. So you kind of have to make the moment happen.
It's the idea that, like, if you wait to be like 100% sure that you should do something, opportunities
you'll be
probably
waiting forever.
missed itself. Yeah, you'll be waiting forever.
And
so you want to be like that part where you're like, you're kind of sure but you're not really, and then that's why it's called a leap.
Right. There's a very weird mentality that I've seen, that I've seen in myself and I've seen in other people, is that it's not good to go after an unsure thing. Basically, that there's risk, and you should always be risking a little bit, but there are risk thresholds that are just too high. And now,
they say that with reason.
They say that with very good reason, because you want to stay safe. You want to live long, live a long life and prosper. But I'll tell you that the people who have lived a long time, the people that have lived a full life, like talking, one of the things I did back in high school, I wish I still did this. This should have been my channel a long time ago.
Yeah.
Was going and interviewing people that were in their 60s or above. I loved doing this. I had an old 2-bit phone that had a really basic recording thing. It was a little flip phone and stuff. And it actually had a recording thing in it. I was just like, oh, that's so cool. And I went and asked people, hey, could I ask you some questions about you know, just life in general. And I would ask them, like, what's your biggest regret? Like, what's your thing you would tell yourself if you were my age? And I was like 17 or 16 or what have you. And I kid you not, almost every single one said something along the lines of take more risks. Basically, like going after the unsure thing.
Right.
They wish they would have told that one person that they loved them. They wish they had made that move to this thing. They wish they had traveled more. They wish they had, you know...
Gone after their dream job.
After their dream job. Yeah, there's all these things in there, and I boiled down a lot of it, too. So you wish you had done the thing that was a little bit risky, but you would have at least wished that you would have tried.
Exactly.
Because a lot of these people didn't even try.
Right.
They don't know whether or not they do it. It's hard if you were the person that tried and it didn't work out, because then it's like, oh, I feel for you. Like, I know what that's like. But there's a different side of it where it's I didn't take any shots, and you miss 100% of the shots you never take. So
the biggest regret is not the things we have done, but the things we haven't done.
Right.
Yeah.
And if this show gets into that with this side character here, I'm going to be raving about this show to everyone. In addition, probably to all the dream inspiration, good fulfillment stuff.
Because
coming.
It's the idea of having all the positive stuff of yes, go after your dreams, you know, and all that stuff, because it can be amazing and you can do it. And surround yourself with friends that, you know, believe in you and are also going after their dreams and stuff.
Yeah.
But then there's also the idea of what happens if you don't.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That's it.
And that's the scariest part.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyways, guys, we don't want to get existential on you and depressing and everything. But, guys, love this show so much. If you want to see the next episode's reaction, though, right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access. So you can chat with us about whatever. If that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time. Okay, what are you laughing about?
Shut talking.
Shut talking! Shut talking now.
Yeah.
Oh, shut talking now. Oh, no.